So good morning, guys. Today is September 6th, 2024. It's about 3 a.m. getting ready to get some of my bird chores done for the day. This is the time of night that I top up all my waters, get everybody fed up for the next day. Temperatures are pretty high here. They're over 100, so I haven't been training the young birds at all since the last toss just because of the heat. We're still going to run into the hundreds, probably going through the weekend. And then probably Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures are expected to drop back down into the low 80s, high 70s. So I'm not going to do much with them until that point. Let the temperatures cool down. Really give those birds a rest and then get them right back out on the road is the plan. Lots of One Loft racing activity going on right now around the country. Apple Cup, which my friend Rick Me from Rovers operates. I didn't race in that one. They just did their activation race. Those of you who sent birds to that, I hope some of you had really good luck in that. I haven't even had a chance to look at the results. It's been a really busy work week for me. Kind of in the business I go through, there's kind of these fits and starts. I have really busy weeks and I have really lax weeks. It just kind of depends on the situation, so sometimes I don't have a lot of time for stuff, and sometimes I have all the time in the world, it seems. But one of the other things going on is from the last update I've heard is that the Hoosier $1 million race, which is probably one of I think it may be the biggest One Loft race in the U.S. Possible activation race this weekend or Monday, depending on the weather. And I am really looking forward to that one. Frank McLaughlin and I sent 6 pigeons to that. And they've been doing pretty good on the training, especially one bird. We had one hen that second to last toss at 70 miles. She was 19th. Yesterday at 80 miles on the training toss, she was 13th. So she's right there in that top 1%. And we're really optimistic on, good results now that the activation race is coming up. I've got to call there today and make sure that she is in the sprint contest, because Hoosier kind of has some extra, they're not extra activities, but they're kind of extra competition sides you can enter in. And I'm going to be doing that and make sure that she's eligible for the sprint contest going into the activation race. That basically there's going to be some prize money for the first 3 races, specifically for the sprint entry bird. So I'm going to make sure that she is in that, since she's been doing really, really well for us at this point. Hopefully those results continue like that, and she keeps having, really good performances. She's been in the top 1% for, I think there's 4 out of 8 trainers she's been on, so she's actually been doing really, really well. So very optimistic about that. You can actually watch, you not quite watch, but you can kind of watch the results come in on races like Hoosier and other One Loft races through Win Companion, and in some cases through Benzing Live. So if you get kind of, you get some extra time this weekend, be sure to check out Win Companion, see what's going on in One Loft races that are going to be flying this weekend. There's quite a few, I think, doing their activations this weekend or early in the week. Definitely something to look at, whether you watch them on Win Companion or you watch them on Benzing Live and kind of get to see the actual live results coming through on Benzing Live. I think Win Companion's more delayed than Benzing, but you can get a pretty good picture of what's going on. Not quite as it happens, but it's pretty up to date. So if you just go to Google and look for Benzing Live, you can watch, results of all kinds of races, around the world. Everybody who uses Benzing clocks, you can see their results come in. Lots and lots of stuff going on. If you're looking for birds, good tool too. I was watching some races in out of the Rockies that kind of piqued my interest, where they fly out of these, very high elevation mountainous terrains, and kind of thinking, I ought to watch some of those races and kind of see who's doing what, and maybe consider, trying to get birds from some of those folks. So a really good tool if you're, interested in racing. Also, Little Loft on the Hill, which is, dubbed the world's smallest OLR, should be racing in the Auburn Racing Pigeon Club this weekend. So if you pop over to Tom Brasher's channel, Little Loft on the Hill, he should be posting and kind of updating what's going on there. I had good results there last week. I've got one cockbird. He's really the only cockbird who's been really doing fairly well on the team there. He was 5th in the loft last week. He was 12th in the club, and he was 17th in the combine. And I'm pretty happy with that, but I think he's going to get better and better, and hopefully we're going to see a better result this weekend. But most of the guys who are flying in the Little Loft on the Hill OLR there that Tom runs, most of them are YouTube guys. You have Robertson Family Pigeons flying in it. You have Matus in it. You have other guys in it. Folks who watch, Brother Dennis from New Beginnings. He's got a pigeon in there. So a lot of people with YouTube channels with birds in there. I haven't seen any updates on, how many birds are left. There were some of them seem to have, a little bit of a tough race last week. But there's, some pretty high competition going. Tom does a good job training and feeding, and they've been really, really competitive. He almost won the combine last week. He kind of won the combine because he was also flying the late Larry Holmes's birds, which were also provided by mostly the same people competing in the Little Loft. And he was flying Larry's birds after he died, and Larry swore before he died he was going to kick Tom's ass, and sure enough, he's, the birds that Larry got, they've now posthumously for Larry, they have beat the Little Loft birds now 2 weekends in a row, and even won the combine last weekend. So some really good competition going on in that stuff, and even if you're, even though you're, nobody's there to watch, just kind of watching the benzing results is kind of fun to see it all tick through. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Little bit of an update on when I was talking last week about, in the last video, about my scorched earth plan with the breeding lofts. Some people think that was kind of an extreme response to the adenovirus, but interestingly enough, in the last couple days since I did that video, there was one pair of birds in the back loft of the mobile loft, and that was kind of there were a lot of birds died in that loft, and this was the last pair that was left. And they had successfully raised one squab to come out of the nest, and he was starting to fly around the loft, and I went in to feed the day before yesterday, and the cockbird was dead, and so was the squeaker. Just typical adeno symptoms. The typical adeno result, just dead on the floor, gone. No warning, no nothing, just dead. The hen's fine. I moved her in an individual. So now the mobile loft has basically 3 pigeons left in it. It has the port lead pair in the front compartment, and there's an extra Devrent in there that was a survivor squeaker that actually struggled quite a bit when it was a squeaker and had some feather retardation and stuff, but did survive and is now fairly normal looking. But so that pigeon lived through the adeno, and the port leads lived through the adeno, but that's all that's left in that entire mobile loft now. After that, there were just the 2 pairs, and then the cock in the back loft died, and the squeaker died, and only the hens left. So even though those birds had been through the adeno waves, they were still affected. And I think what it was, the cockbird, obviously late as the squabs are in their final couple weeks, the cockbird takes over most of the feeding. And I think that's what it was, is just kind of the cockbird taking over the feeding on his own, probably stressed him out and took him down. And I think that's kind of what happened. It seems to be what happens with a lot of the cockbirds with the adenovirus. But even though I have a lot of resources into the mobile loft, you know, as far as, you know, I got it for a good price, but it did cost a bit to move it here. It would be very painful to just destroy that building, especially since it's a pretty nice building. I'm going to convert it into some sort of wood shop sort of thing for doing projects around here. And I may even have it professionally fumigated. But the rest of the lofts, they're going to be going. That's a definite. That adenovirus, it stays in the wood, and it's the nightmare that keeps on giving. So needless to say, all the other lofts are going to be going. I'm going to try to keep that building, use it for something other than pigeons. You know, it's a useful building, and I think maybe a wood shop of some sort for doing projects around here and storing tools in is definitely the best thing for it, and not keeping any pigeons in it, which is unfortunate. I've done a lot of work in there and put a lot of money into it, and you know, all those nice dowel-fronted nest boxes I was so proud of, they're in there. They're gonna have to go, unfortunately. But that is it, guys. That's kind of the update. You know, just this and that. The One Loft Races, Little Loft in the Hill, adenovirus, the race update. The Little Race team, they have not been out since then just because of the heat. They'll go back out to the road sometime in the beginning of next week once it cools off a little bit. So they're going to have about a week rest and hopefully do well. We'll see. But that is it, guys. I'm going to get to my morning chores here, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.